You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video we're going to do our review for Gotham, which came back for 1 week before it takes another hiatus, and then we get back into the regular season. But this was a very, very good episode. We get to see Jim Gordon during his time at Arkham, and already things are starting to take off there, and he cannot help but get back into his investigative ways. And let me tell you something real quick before I even get into the review. Can we ever have any incident in a Batman universe where Arkham is not just broken open and the inmates are all over the place? But and it's not a criticism, it's just a little bit of a nitpick, but it seems to happen whether it's a game or another movie where the inmates always break out of Arkham. Either way, this was a fantastic episode. A lot of things took place, and one of the things I want to mention right off the bat that I really enjoyed about this episode was Butch. Butch actually having a function other than just being Fish Mooney's, muscle. I mean, I thought it was really cool when you really saw him contemplating about turning on Fish, and then only in the end, as we saw, he went and he turned on his old buddy. So I thought that was really good. I thought, Butch obviously is not a big character. He's not a main character. He's just kind of there. But the little moment that he did have in this episode, I liked it. I thought it was good, and I thought he did a good job. And it was a nice little side story with everything else going on. Now, we finally got to see Barbara and Montoya at Montoya's place, and we finally got to see them interact. And we didn't really get much of a history as to what happened between the time she left Jim and the time she went with Montoya. Montoya basically broke up with her and told her, you can stay here and get yourself together before you leave. Basically telling Barbara that when they're together, they're toxic. Obviously, Montoya's recovering. Barbara's an alcoholic. And we got to see Barbara look like she was going to come back to Jim before little Ivy picks up the phone, tries to disguise herself as a woman, somehow fools Barbara. And it looks like Barbara is in a place where she really doesn't have anywhere to go. Now she's thinking Jim with somebody, and obviously her and Montoya are done. So it'll be interesting to see where her character goes from here. Now, on to the asylum, where there was an investigation involving somebody doing these, tests on the inmates with electrical and these little fried spots on their neck. I thought it was pretty interesting, and they did a pretty good job of trying to sway you. It was never really, I don't think anyone would ever be convinced that it was one person or another, but they did a pretty decent job trying to convince you that it could either be the doctor himself, the one running the asylum, the lady, the nurse who runs, I think her name was Tompkinson or Wilkinson, something like that, but she was a nurse, or the doctor rather, that was running the female wing, or she was helping those inmates in the female wing. And then, of course, the nurse, who we thought was a nurse until we found out later that she was herself an inmate, only to turn around and make it Gruber. And that was pretty interesting because Gruber was the first person that Jim Gordon interviewed. So it was kind of funny that it all went full circle and went back to Gruber. And Gruber looks like he's going to be a primary villain. In fact, he looks like he's going to be the show's first supervillain, as we saw later on with the previews for the next episode, where Gruber is wearing some sort of device where he's controlling electricity. Obviously, he's got some mind control capabilities with other people. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And it also looks like we're not going to have Jim at Arkham very long either. Jim looks like he's going to work himself out of there pretty quickly. And I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really funny when Harvey went back and they kind of, it was like a little reunion there at Arkham Asylum, and they're kind of joking and snipping jokes at the warden, so to speak. I like Harvey. I think he's really funny. I like him and Jim together. And even though they got up to a rocky start in the early part of the season, they really, really do a good job together. Now, in terms of Fish Mooney and her plans to go after Falcone, it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Now she knows that Butch is on her side. Butch, like I said earlier, had a great moment. And Penguin seems to be overstepping his boundaries. Obviously got locked up, tried to raise the taxes on the seaport, and his boss, his unofficial boss, obviously put him in jail, but we all know that he's still in cahoots with Falcone, the big man, and that's only going to help propel him, I think, at some point, but he still has some things to learn. So, but overall, I thought it was a fantastic episode. In fact, I'm almost upset that we have to wait 2 more weeks before we get the season to continue, I kind of was wondering that, oh, it's going to continue from here on, but apparently not. They just had an episode in there to kind of get our mouth watering. I thought it was a solid episode. There were a lot of things going on, but it all flowed together really well. You had the Butch side story. You had Penguin and what was going on with him. Obviously, Fish trying to, you know, become top dog. Jim Gordon and his troubles there in Arkham and trying to investigate some activities going on there. And, of course, Montoya and Barbara. And, of course, Little Cat and helping Little Ivy breaking into Jim's apartment so she could stay there until she's, you know, feeling better and she wasn't sick. And then Ivy, of course, disguising her voice as a woman to fool Barbara into thinking that Jim is with somebody else. Basically, she's got no right to be upset, though. She basically left Jim to be with Montoya. So we'll see how things turn out. I think the show's getting a lot better, and this was a great episode. I really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to the next one. But until then, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit E.T.N's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description.